We accept Medicare, Medicaid, and most major private insurances. For our self-pay patients, we have a sliding scale discount program available. Our health centers have qualified providers and staff striving every day to provide the best quality of care to our patients. Services offered are family medicine, behavioral health services, telepsychiatry, and pediatrics. We have 4 area locations. Look up the Health Center Southeast Texas online at hcset.com.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide on ourlonestar.com.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Amy Ressler. You're listening to the Extension Hour, Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service, where we talk about our people, our programs, our partnerships. We have great guests, and today our guest is Scott Moore. Scott, you want to say hi?
Hello, everybody.
So Scott you're going to be like a threefer. So there's 3 different things that I want to talk about with you. But before I do that, I want to talk about some of the things that are happening with Extension. But of course, because of course this is the Extension Hour, so brought to you by Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service, where we help Texans make their lives better. And so one of the ways we do that is like with our 4-H program, which is a big deal around Montgomery County. We have over 20 clubs, 21, 22 clubs, lots and lots of clubs, about 1,000 kids involved. But there's always room for more. And one of the big events for the year that people often associate 4-H with is the Montgomery County Fair. And so that is actually starting up today. There'll be lots of great things going on there. You can find out information online at, I don't even know their website, but they've got lots of activities happening. In fact, so Jenny Adams is one of our coordinators there in the extension office, and her daughter Caroline is going to be in the stick horse race tonight. So go Caroline, and good luck to everybody else. But Caroline is going to be super cute. And then so also Monday and Tuesday is Kids Day out at the fair, and the 4-H department will have some activities going on for kids to participate in while they're there. Our Junior Master Gardener group, they come out and they have some things happening. And then also there's a special appearance by Chef Plate. And Chef Plate is like my alter ego. So I always say she's kind of like a cross between Rainbow Bright and a rodeo clown or something. Anyway, we teach kids about nutrition. We make a healthy pizza. We have lots of fun. Anyway, so lots of good things going on. April 1st and 2nd are Kids Days. And then, of course, the fair continues on through April 7th. So lots of activities happening there. And then, of course, the other thing that's great for families that we're involved with a lot that'll come up in April is the Conroe Kids Fest. So right here in downtown Conroe. So I end up coordinating the Health Village, and then Jenny coordinates the Safety Village, and Justin and Joe from the 4-H department coordinate the Discovery Village. So we're out there a lot. Okay, so Scott, tell us about yourself.
So yeah, there's nothing going on with Agrilife right now, right?
Right.
Yeah,
well, that's just some of it. There's a little bit more, but
so yeah, 3 hats today, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I am the Director of Missional Excellence for the Texas Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. That just means I carry around poster boards instead of business cards because my title's too long to put on a business card. But essentially, I'm in charge of missions and disaster relief for a 58-county region in East Texas. The United Methodist Church is divided up regionally, geographically, and our geographic region, called the Texas Annual Conference, covers 58 counties from Texarkana all the way down to Matagorda and all points east. So doing disaster relief, been very busy for the last several years, actually, going back to floods of 2015. I'm also on the Conroe ISD School Board, a trustee on the Conroe School Board. Love doing that. Great way to be out in the community. And then I guess how I know you met through a PhD program in leadership studies that we're both at Our Lady of the Lake University in Houston. So
yeah. So those are 3 hats. And then part of whenever we started talking about some of the things that we do, I was like, oh, there's some connections there. And then also recruited you to be on our Family and Community Health Committee. So we're glad to have you as part of that. So that makes you one of our people. Like I said, we talk about people and programs and partnerships. So, okay, 3 hats. Let's start out with, I want to talk about school because I think it's very cool And sometimes I wonder, like, am I glutton for punishment? Why did I decide to do that? Do you ever question yourself, like, why am I getting a PhD?
Somehow in the back of my mind, I always expected to be working on a doctorate. And this program just kind of came along the right place at the right time. Not knowing exactly how I was going to manage a full-time work and full-time school load, not knowing where I would be able to find a university that had something that interested me. And along comes Our Lady of the Lake University and a PhD in leadership studies. And it just fits so perfectly for what I wanted to do. With the Saturday classes, I can work schedules around class schedules. So I think even going back to a young man, I knew that one day there'd be a DR before my name. I just didn't know exactly when or what that would look like.
Yeah. And so the other thing we should mention is that when we're talking about Our Lady of the Lake University, we're actually talking about their Houston campus. Right. So that is close nearby to us. So like we don't go to San Antonio every other Saturday. There is a campus in Houston. And what's interesting is that I found out it's actually been in the area for over 20 years. So they used to be out with the Lone Star the campus that it's called the Montgomery campus, but it's there in the Woodlands. But they just recently moved into their own facility. And so that's kind of in Houston, 45, Beltway 8, Greens Point area. They always say the good side of Greens Point. But so that's where we go to class. And, for me, I mentioned like an extension, we're all about education, helping people make their lives better, right? And so, I felt like having a PhD would be not absolutely necessary, but just a good way to help make sure that I am well equipped for helping others. And then being in Montgomery County with the rate of growth here and how large it's growing and how fast it's growing and how many people are here. And then I think also the concept of leadership studies, which is the PhD program that we are in, is so applicable to so many different areas. I mean, we all have opportunities to lead, and we're all led in different ways. And so just kind of, it's been very eye-opening, I would say, for one thing, just learning so much about leadership and leadership studies and types of leadership. What has struck you the most?
So what I really enjoy about the program is that it covers so many disciplines. So often, a PhD is so focused in one particular area. And then, it's kind of the point of most of them is to just laser focus and gain a high level of specialization in one particular area. But with this particular program, it's applicable to the education field, to the private business sector, to government, to church, to nonprofit, to whatever type of leadership you may be in. This program has something for you. I looked at PhD programs in theology, and the good ones are few and far between, and you have to go off to this school, and may not be a lot of local options, and all you're learning about is theology. Or, if people in the education sector go and get an EDD, and they're exposed really to pretty much just nothing but education and leadership in that realm. And in this particular program at Our Lady of the Lake, we're exposed to so many different theories, but they're all applicable no matter what setting you're in. And so it's great to be in a class with teachers and with businessmen and with nonprofit leaders, with healthcare sector leaders, and see, learn from each other based on the differences that we all have, but see where our paths cross and where these theories really intersect all of our different sectors.
Right. We have some great class conversations about leadership in different aspects, because I know for myself, I tend to kind of sometimes get into this bubble, like this is what it's like in my world where I work and the people that I know, but then hearing from others about how it works. And then also, I think our professors are pretty awesome
They're
as
amazing.
well. Yeah. So, kind of looking around for our program, what you mentioned, the rigor and the, how did you just describe it? Just the when you look for, okay, so there's lots of programs. Anytime you educate yourself and make yourself better, that's awesome. But we do want a certain standard. we're going to spend all this time and all this money getting a degree. We want it to really be worth something. And so that's one of the things that I like about Our Lady of the Lake University. And then, like I said, our professors, Dr. Isang and Dr. Soon, are just phenomenal, I think.
Yeah, I was really impressed with this program. This is actually the second doctorate that I started. The first one was a professional degree, Doctor of Ministry degree. And it focused a little bit too much on the practice and not enough on the academic theory side. And that's really what I was looking for. So, yeah, there's all kinds of doctoral programs out there, and some fit some people and they don't fit others.
Sure.
And this one really has a broad reach. It is very intensive. It's
We have midterms tomorrow.
we ought to be studying right now
We
instead of on the
should be,
radio.
yeah.
But,
Beside the point.
we're having fun. So it's definitely not a pay your money and mail order kind of thing. This is a very academically rigorous. I would put it up against any PhD program anywhere in the country. As far as the academic rigor, but it's so fluid and it's so adaptable with the Saturday classes and every other Saturday that the entire Houston campus of Our Lady of the Lake was kind of designed around working adults,
Right.
And they offer afternoon classes and evening classes and weekend classes, kind of on a non-traditional schedule, so that you can still work full time and bring home the paycheck and take care of a family and do all those things and not have to sacrifice, 4 or 5 years of your life just working on school. You can do both and balance it. And it's a fabulous program.
Right. And we don't also mention undergraduate degrees and master's degrees are also available with the same kind of format for non-traditional students so that you can balance it with work and life and all those other things, for people who can't just quit and go to school. So, and you mentioned the standards of the school. So I saw online that Our Lady of the Lake is among the top 70 regional universities in the West, and that is from the U.S. News and World Report 2019 Best Colleges. So it's up there with lots of other great universities and colleges, and so the quality of the education is definitely awesome. And you're also adjunct professor now?
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So, being a Catholic university, there is a theological component to the program, and the undergraduates are required to take one theology course at some point during their time at the university. So I was fortunate to be asked by the university, having a master's degree in divinity and being a practicing member of the clergy, having the background. This summer, I will be teaching one theology course to undergrads, and then next fall, I will be teaching a theology course and introduction to philosophy as well. So I get to teach part-time and be a student there and see both sides of the classroom. I'm really looking forward to that.
And then, of course, wear your other hats, which we want to talk about having you here today. But we're going to, we have to take a little bit of break, but we're going to be back in just a little bit, talk a little bit more about Our Lady of the Lake University. We're going to talk about Conroe ISD, the school board, and we will also talk about the work you do that you get paid for. But stay tuned. We'll be right back. Family and community health programs provide science-based education designed to improve the overall health and wellness of individuals, families, and communities. Developed by experts and delivered locally, topics include child and adult health, nutrition, child care, financial management, passenger and community safety, and building strong families, all encouraging lifelong health and well-being for every person, every family, and every community. We are Texas A&M Agrilife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
Want to check out the fastest growing sport in the world? It's right here in Conroe, Texas, and it's roller derby. Conroe Roller Derby is a nonprofit recreational league of women and men who want you to come and check out the fast-paced, hard-hitting game of roller derby. The Conroe Cutthroats practice at Rainbow Roller Rink on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. You can find our game schedule and more information on our website, www.conroerollerderby.com.
Hey guys, this is Connor.
This is Dick.
This is Chris.
And we're with the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Also, anytime at irlonestar.com. You go to irlonestar.com/TTS. You can find all of our social media.
And don't forget, we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater on every show.
If you like movies and you like complaining or celebrating anything that has to do with the silver screen, check out the Ticket Stub Podcast and join us every Thursday at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio.
And we are back. This is Amy Ressler, County Extension Agent, Family Community Health, Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service. This is the Extension Hour where we talk all about extension things happening. We have our people, our programs, our partnerships. We have a partner program person here with us today.
That's way too many Ps.
I know, lots of P's, and I'm probably like popping the microphone too. And last week I said something about a plethora of P's because there is lots of. Anyway, I'm going to get off on a tangent if I don't stop. 104.5, 106.1, those are how you can listen in every Friday, 1 to 2, and then worldwide on irlonestar.com. We also are on Facebook Live. So on the Lone Star page, and then on the Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Montgomery County page, and then also it's on YouTube. And you can go back and look and listen to past shows about on YouTube, and so other kind of programs we have. So every time we have a different guest to focus on all of the areas that we do in Extension, because that's one of the things that we find often is that people, we're like kind of a best kept secret in some ways. Or people would just associate with the part that they know. So maybe it's 4-H, or maybe it's Master Gardeners. Speaking of Master Gardeners, they just had a great plant sale this last weekend. Just awesome. They had 987 people, I think was the number of the people that came through to buy plants at the plant sale. So they do plant sales twice a year. People will often ask, when is the next one? So the fall plant sale will be October 5th. So you can put that on your calendar now to get fall plants. But the other cool thing they do is one Saturday each month, they do a series of classes. And so on April 13th, they will have some classes about blooms, which is, so they do 2 sessions. So one is 8 to 10, the other is 10:30 to 12:30. And that's every time that they have the class. So the next one is in April. The which, what, and how of spring blooms is the first session. And then the second one is multiplying your blooms. So if you like flowers, this is a great class to come to. And then in May, they will host their Open Gardens Day. This is totally free. You come out, tour the gardens, beautiful gardens all around the office that we there. And the Master Gardeners help keep those up. They do a lot of demonstrations so that they can find the plants that work well in our area. So you can see them growing in the ground and how well and then there's people there that you can ask questions from. And then, so we're usually out there with we do food. So, you grow the vegetables, then you eat the vegetables. And so we'll help give some people some ideas about healthy eating. Our 4-H program will be out there, and then also the agriculture program. So it's another kind of interdisciplinary thing that we do. But so that Open Gardens Day, May 18th, 9:30 to 11:30, and that is at the Extension Office, 9020 Airport Road.
I'll put in a plug for Master Gardeners,
Okay.
too. If
Yeah.
you have an unknown burrowing rodent in your backyard and you call the office and talk to a Master Gardener,
Yeah.
they will let you take a picture of it and email it to them and tell you what it is and how to get rid of it. So
They can answer all kinds of questions. So there was one that came in yesterday, or it was some kind of beetle, and it had this lobe underneath one of its feet for what, I don't know, their feet on beetles. But anyway, they were able to.
you're not a Master Gardener.
I am not, definitely not a Master Gardener. When people call and ask me plant questions, I'm like, let me go help you find something. And that is the awesome thing about Extension. We've got lots of resources, so lots of other people to ask questions of. The 936-539-7825 is our one of our numbers. We have a few different ones, but that'll get you to a menu system, and then there's and I forget which number it is, but on that menu it'll say if you'd like to talk to a Master Gardener, press this number, and you can connect directly with them, and that's during regular business hours. Obviously, you can leave a message. They have a great Facebook page. They have a great website. So lots of good information from them. And so, it's kind of funny, becoming a master gardener, I feel like, is almost like they're getting master's degrees in what they're doing, because they go through some really rigorous training on all the information that they learn. And so we've been talking about Our Lady of the Lake University, which is the university that you and I both go to, and we're both involved in the PhD program there. But as I mentioned before we went to break, they have other programs as well. So they have an undergrad degrees in sociology and psychology, and this is at the Houston campus specifically that we're talking about. So definitely very doable, because right here it's easy to drive from Conroe to the Houston campus. They also offer a BBA in management, and the undergraduate classes are in the evenings, Monday through Wednesday, or Monday and Wednesday. And then they have master's degrees, and that includes an MBA in management and in healthcare management, and then a Master of Science in Family and Marriage Counseling that leads to licensure. And then all those classes, graduate classes, are offered every other Saturday. So masters go one Saturday, and then our doctoral students go the next Saturday. And then the other great thing that I think about it, small classes, experienced faculty, personalized service. They have advisors, financial aid counselors. They have everything that any university has. And but yeah, the small classes and the experienced faculty, I think, is awesome. I mean,
and the cohort model, being with the same group of students all the way through the program, and getting to know each other outside the classroom. That's a great way to do it as well. You're not having to relearn personalities and all of those things that come along with changing classes every semester. You're with the same group, same cohort, going all the way through the program, and I think that's very beneficial.
I agree, and I like our cohort. I think we've got a really good group. And like we mentioned before, a lot of diversity in terms of the experience that everyone has, their career backgrounds, their personal backgrounds. I mean, it's a cool class. One of our students is from Brazil. She came from Brazil to just to take the PhD with our program. So that's pretty awesome. And actually, so Dr. Isang wanted me to mention that enrollment for the fall semester is open. So if you are interested, so the cohort model is interesting too, because we do start in the fall, and then we go we do 3 semesters a year, and like you said, cohorts, we all go together and throughout the classes. It's a very well organized, laid out, so we know what our next 4 years look like. The other thing that I think is cool about it is how we're already working on our dissertations, whereas some other programs that are out there, you do all the coursework first, and then you do the dissertation, and that may take a little bit longer, but they've got us already focused on doing our dissertations. And so, what is your dissertation?
So my dissertation is going to be on teacher perceptions of the transformational leadership styles of school board, and that relation to classroom teacher organizational commitment. There's been a lot of research with principals and superintendents and how their leadership styles affect the teachers in the classroom, but there's virtually nothing out there that exists about how the school board leadership affects classroom teacher and their commitment to the organization. And there was a piece of legislation passed in 2017, SB 1566, that places a lot more of the responsibility for outcomes in the classroom on the school board. And so I thought this would be a good opportunity, number one, to look at, what some potential outcomes of that are, since there's not been any research on it before. So if you're a teacher listening, you may be getting surveys from me in the coming years asking about your school board and then your commitment to the organization. And those surveys probably will not be going out to Conroe ISD, since I'm one of the school board members there. We'll choose other school districts, so they're not trying to rate me and keep it all above board on the academic side.
Yeah. And I think an interesting thing you said about that legislation is that the school board is now being held for the academic accountability of the schools. So, and not many of them are actually teachers, educators,
Right.
business members. So being held responsible for the educational quality in the school district is an interesting concept, and it's one of those things that requires leadership. And you're working on transformational leadership, right?
That's right.
Okay, can you put that into like English? I'm going to put you in the hot seat, like Dr. Isang would do. All right, so Scott, tell us about transformational leadership.
Transformational leadership is one specific type of leadership, one aspect of leadership that's measured with what's known as the full range model of leadership. It is one of many theories of leadership out there, but it's basically broken down into components such as individual consideration, intellectual stimulation, how the personality attributes you bring, and how your behavior influence other people. And the idea of transformational leadership, at least within the church world, has kind of become a hot topic. You hear there's a lot being written about transformational leadership. Some of it sticks with the truly academic version of the full range model and transformational leadership, and some of it's just a cool buzzword. But in this setting, it's 5 specific facets of leadership that contribute to the overall health of the organization and the overall type of leader that one is.
And transformational leadership is that type of leadership that really inspires the followers to do more than is expected.
Right.
Because any kind of organization is going to have a leader, right? So leaders can be they can be leaders, or they can be inspirational leaders. They can be transformational leaders. So, and so sometimes I feel I struggle with the very technical aspects of it, because I think in these big theoretical ideas, but we do get down into the nitty gritty with the research that we'll be doing. So I'm going to look at servant leadership and how that relates to job satisfaction. Being an extension agent, I think the extension service, it's a service, right? So I think it attracts a lot of servant leaders. Servant leadership styles. And so I'm going to look at, kind of how that affects job satisfaction. So then there's 6 facets of the job satisfaction, how it relates, satisfaction with the job itself, satisfaction with the supervisor, satisfaction with coworkers, satisfaction with pay, satisfaction with overall, with pay, with supervisors, with opportunity for promotion, and then, overall job satisfaction.
Maybe you get bonus points on the midterm tomorrow. For
Maybe.
having all that.
Maybe. I need all the help I can get. Although, like I said, it's challenging, and but I like that. I have mixed feelings about it. Like, why am I doing this? But it really is rewarding, and I'm looking forward to finishing as well. All right, so the other thing I'd mentioned before, I mentioned about the accreditation. So it is accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and School Commissions on Colleges. So that makes a big difference as well. The goals, talk about the goals. So to enhance leadership skills of professionals in a variety of fields, like you mentioned before, provide an interdisciplinary degree that combines theory, application in order to graduate as practitioner scholars, individuals who can provide enlightened leaderships in communities and within the workplace. And then to emphasize the study of leadership theory, research methodology, ethics, teamwork, communication strategy, public policy, and then to help students develop into leaders ready to assume executive level responsibility and or consultant roles. So there's also 3 campuses. So we mentioned the one, Houston obviously is the one we go to. There's the one in San Antonio, the main campus. And the Rio Grande Valley also has a campus as well. So lots and lots of opportunities. Okay, so we've talked a lot about that. We want to talk more about some of the other hats that you wear, but we're going to take a break first, and then we'll come back and learn more about who is Scott Moore. You're listening to the Extension Hour. We'll be here every Friday, 1 to 2. Next week, we're actually going to have Shelley Winkler and Ina McFarland from CISD, but we're going to be back in just a few minutes, so stay tuned.
You're going to need me.
You're going to need us.
All of us.
You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food.
You're going to need our determination, our compassion.
You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring.
And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Today, 4-H is growing the next generation of leaders.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your question. Get seen on TV or YouTube and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Sponsor your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Lone Star Boxer Rescue is a nonprofit organization serving Montgomery County and surrounding areas, dedicated to the health and well-being of the boxer breed. Lone Star Boxer Rescue is run and managed 100% by volunteers since 1999. Our main objective is to rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome boxers that come to us from many sources, including local animal shelters, owner surrenders, and strays. For more information about Lone Star Boxer Rescue, visit our website at lsbr.org.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Hey, we're back. This is the Extension Hour, Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service. People, programs, partnerships, and Scott Moore is with us today. And so Scott has been helping with our Family and Community Health Committee. So another thing that we do in Extension is we utilize committees a lot to make sure that we are on target with the kinds of projects that we're doing. And with your background, your experience, you're becoming an emerging leader as with a PhD. So Dr. Moore, you like the sound of that? It's pretty good, right? Yeah.
It sounds pretty good. Yeah. I have to admit, I like stand there in the mirror sometimes and say that here just to hear it. Yeah.
So the Family and Community Health, some of the programs that we do, like I said, to keep us on track. Walk Across Texas is coming up. So this is this is March 29th, so April 1st. We want teams to start walking across Texas. So you can start on or about April 1st. So if this is like the first you're hearing about it, keep in mind that you can still start. So we're not really strict on it because we just want as many people as possible participating. And we have traditionally have had anywhere from 500-600 to 1,000 people participating during our community challenge. So here in Montgomery County, we do our community challenge April and May. If a team starts a little bit late, then they just finish a little bit late, and it's 8 weeks. And so if you sign up and you start on April 1st, you're going to end about May 26th, I think is what the date is. If you start a little bit later, you're going to end a little bit. I already said that. So you register online, howdyhealth.org. And so the goal is teams of 8, up to 8. So it can be less than 8, just not more than 8. And we want them to do physical activity, so walking or other types of physical activity that equate to miles. And the goal is 832 miles, which is roughly the distance from Orange to El Paso. So like I said, to get people just more physically active. And besides that, we have prizes. And so
Who doesn't love prizes?
Right? So last week we had Mike Lopez, who runs at the state level, and so he was talking a little bit about some of the online changes with the registration system and everything that's happened to make it more user-friendly, to bring it into the 21st century, that kind of thing. We also had Jody Schreier and Ruby Chandler, and they have been helping recruit prizes. And we've got so many great prizes to give out. So each week we'll have like a goal or a mini challenge, and then people can win that. And so everybody has a chance to win too. So if you meet whatever the mini challenge is for the week, then your name will go in for a drawing. So this is to kind of, sometimes people feel like there's no way I can compete against super healthy, physically active people like those that are already running marathons. This really gives everybody a chance. So if you're participating, you have a chance to win prizes. And then at the end, we do a prize patrol. Anyway, it's really fun. Great activities. And then our Families Reading Every Day project is another thing that's happening now. So in our Head Starts. And week after next, we'll be doing some of the celebration events with them. We go in and read. We give them little certificates, for reading every day with their families. And then they get prizes too. So we're all about prizes.
At the school district, we love that y'all are doing that with the younger kids with Head Start, because we have Read for a Better Life in Conroe ISD. And that's one of the messages that we are constantly pushing out to all 63,000 plus students, is to read every single day, and how much that benefits you throughout life. So we're grateful that y'all are starting that at the Head Start programs and getting them started at such a young age reading, and just the physical act of holding a book and sitting there and hearing words and having somebody pay attention to them and read to them is so beneficial at that age.
Agreed. And then the family aspect of it too, that, it's not just here, look at a book. It's like, let's read together.
Right.
Yeah. So that's an excellent segue into Conroe ISD School Board. So you are a school board member. How long have you been?
About 2.5 years. I was elected in November of 2016.
Okay. So what's your favorite part?
A couple of times a month we go and we do what we call field trips, where we actually go into the schools, and at some point during the school year, the school board will set foot in every one of our schools. And we get the opportunity to see classroom instruction taking place and to see some of the special programs that are going on our campuses, and to interact with teachers and administrators, in their setting. When they come before us in the boardroom on one Tuesday night a month, it's a very structured thing, and that's kind of our house. And I like the fact that we get to go into their house and see what they're doing. And there is so much innovative, creative instruction going on in Conroe ISD right now. We have some of the best teachers you will find anywhere, some of the most creative people that are educating our children. And it's I'm sitting here getting chilled bumps thinking about it. It's so exciting when you walk into a classroom and you see somebody that is that dedicated to educating children, and you see children that are so engaged. I have yet to go into a classroom where there was not 100% engagement going on in that classroom. And some of the programs that we have started at the school district, participating in Lucy Calkins cohorts and these reading and writing programs, and utilizing literacy and math coaches on some of our campuses to kind of model best practices for the teachers. And when you walk into a classroom and you see, a kindergarten student that's sitting there reading with a partner, or working with a teacher in a small group, or having their private reading time, for them to tell us stories, read their stories that they've written, to see them engaged in very complex math at a very young age, to see them excited about learning, makes everything that we do on the administrative and the bureaucratic side totally worth it. To see kids, and you can sit there and you can look in their eyes and see they like school. They are excited to be there. They are engaged in the learning environment, and they're going to go places in this world.
So what is it that made you want to be a school board member? Why? Glutton for punishment, PhD, school board.
Why not? There was 3 hours a week that I wasn't sleeping. I needed to do away with that.
Might as well fill it, yeah.
No, I had engaged and been a part of, I think, literally every parent program, everything a parent could do except serving on the school board. I started off the first year that my family moved back to Conroe. We intentionally moved to Conroe for the schools. We could have settled in some of the surrounding areas, but we wanted our kids in Conroe schools, and definitely were not disappointed. I'm a graduate of Conroe ISD. I graduated from McCullough High School before it was McCullough Junior High, before there was a Woodlands High School or a College Park High School. My mother taught in this district for 19 of her 35 years, so I kind of knew what Conroe ISD was like, and I wanted my kids in this environment. But I got very engaged in their elementary school. I helped start a program at Rice Elementary called Watchdogs, which is to get positive male role models. The theory being that, when we were growing up, Amy, kind of school was mom's realm, and then sports and those other things were dad's realm. And if dad showed up at school, it probably meant you had done something really bad, and the coach or the principal had to call dad because they didn't want to call mom. But we wanted to kind of reverse that role, and we wanted students to see positive male role models who were interested in their education and willing to take the time. So it's a national program called Watchdogs. I helped get that started at Rice, which then led the principal to ask me to be on the PTO, which then led them to ask me to be PTO president, which then led them to ask me to serve on the district level planning and decision making team, which then led them to ask me to serve on the attendance boundary committee when we opened Stewart Elementary and Patterson Elementary in the same year, which then led them to ask me to serve on the facilities planning committee in 2015, which reviewed all of the facility needs of the district. and recommended the bond that ultimately passed in 2015. And we went back and looked, and I think that was every committee that a parent possibly could have served on in the district.
See what happens when you say yes.
That's right. That's right. No good deed goes unpunished. But again, having been a product of CISD, having seen how much good this district does for its students, for its employees, for the community, made me want to be a part of that. And in 2016, there was a board member who was leaving and not returning to run for her seat. So I filed for that particular seat, knowing it was going to be vacant, and I have not regretted a minute of it. I love serving on the school board. I sometimes tell people that, if that was a full-time political position, like being elected to Congress or something like that, I might go that route, because I absolutely love the school board.
But so it's not all fun and games, though, right? There's some challenges.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're managing a district this big, that's growing as fast as it is,
Really fast.
We add an average of about 1,500 students per year. We're, I believe, currently ranked the 11th largest district in the state, and we're one of the fastest growing districts in the state. In one of the fastest growing communities and one of the fastest growing counties in the nation. So there are a lot of challenges that come up with keeping up with that growth. We have several facilities that are, kind of reaching critical points in their life cycle where they need critical components updated and refurbished in order to get another 30, 40, 80, 90 years out of them. And then we have so many new kids coming into the district, we just don't have the space to put them. So we're constantly looking to the future, anticipating that growth, so that we're not scrambling and trying to educate kids under oak trees because we don't have the room for them.
Yeah, because so we talked about, like, one of the things that we like about our school, working on the doctorate degree is small class size. And you talked about the great teachers that we have here in Conroe ISD, and I'm sure that they have very strong servant leadership styles, that they will go above and beyond to serve the students and do whatever it takes. But they do need resources, and they need smaller class sizes, and they'll do as much as they can, but helping them do their job better helps us all. If we have a better educated school age children or get better education, that makes the whole community better. Right. Yeah.
And one of the things that we're dedicated to as a school board and as a district is preparing all students. We have a saying in Conroe ISD, all means all. And we are not only interested in educating the kids that are going to go on to a 4-year college. We want to provide the same high level of education for every student in the district, regardless of what post-secondary success looks like for them. So we're committed to things like career and technological education. Those kids who maybe have no interest or do not have the ability to go on to a 4-year college, but we can provide them with a trade, cosmetology, welding, auto mechanics, veterinarian tech, something like that, so they can contribute to society and be a useful member of society, and can have that success that we all want for our own children. We invest in high-level academic programs, honors programs, AP programs, dual credit programs, so that those students who are college ready when they graduate have a jump start on college. We believe very strongly in fine arts education and providing all sorts of extracurricular opportunities to make well-rounded, holistic people in society. Not just people that can pass a test or can memorize some facts, but educating the whole person. So we put a lot of effort into that holistic education. I was thinking what you were talking about, all these different programs, with Walk Across Texas and Master Gardening and Health and Nutrition and 4-H. And kind of making the community as a whole a better place. That's the same philosophy we take in the school district, is making students better people, not just high-performing students in the classroom.
Yeah, because we are stronger together.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's awesome what you're doing, and you're obviously you are very passionate about being a school board member, and I think that Conroe ISD is fortunate to have you. Future Dr. Moore. Okay, so we've got more things to talk about, but we're gonna have to take another little break. But we'll be back in just a few minutes. But don't forget, you're listening to 104.5, 106.1 worldwide, irlonestar.com. You can come back and listen to this program or any of the other programs about the great people, program, and partnerships that we do in Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service. And you're listening to the Extension Hour. We'll be right back. Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service is all about extending knowledge and providing solutions. We do that by using science-based information to create high-quality and relevant education for the people of Texas. More importantly, this outstanding education is delivered locally, right here in our county. We encourage lasting and effective change that helps our communities and our county thrive. We are Texas A&M Agrilife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776.
Does your company have needs that can be met by an employee who is dependable, hardworking, enthusiastic, motivated, cooperative, respectful, and punctual? Conroe Independent School District Special Education Department can meet your needs by connecting you with potential employees that have been preparing for a lifetime of employment. We have numerous individuals seeking paid and unpaid work experiences. If your company is interested in seeing how we can meet your business needs, call Conroe ISD Special Education Department to find the best employees for you at 936-709-7671.
Hey, Montgomery County and online listeners. Thank you so very much for checking out Jazzy Vibes with Soul. What? You haven't done so yet? Well, you've got to tune in. Hi, I am the host of Jazzy Vibes with Soul, Miss CeCe Holmes, and I invite you to check us out every Friday and Saturday from 7 until 9 p.m., where you will get the best in old school R&B, and of course, a little smooth jazz to make it jazzy. So tune in. That's right, tune in every Friday and Saturday right here on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM, or worldwide at irlonestar.com.
All right, welcome back. We've got our last little segment here, Texas A&M Agrilife Extension Service, the Extension Hour. We've got the future Dr. Scott Moore with us.
And the future Dr. Amy Ressler.
Yes, talking about all things education. Education. I gotta talk about the agriculture department and what they're doing. Private pesticide applicator training, April 2nd. Pond management program on April 25th. Freeze branding clinic for equine on May 21st, and weathering the storm with your animals on May 30th. So they've got lots of great things going on. You can call the extension office, 936-539-7825. Facebook page, we post all of this on there too. We have newsletters, so we try to do lots of ways to help people know what's going on. So we said that you were a threefer today because we were talking about being a PhD student, about the great Our Lady of the Lake University, the Houston campus. We talked a little bit about the school board, but your day job, the thing that you actually get paid for.
The one that actually pays the bills.
Yeah, is?
I am the Director of Missional Excellence for the Texas Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. It's the regional organization over about 630 Methodist churches in 58 counties in East Texas, Texarkana to Matagorda, and all points east. And a large component of that has to do with disaster relief. I head up the disaster relief efforts for the United Methodist Church in that area. And 15 of our 58 counties were in the federally declared disaster zone following Harvey. We've been working the Memorial Day 2015 floods, the Tax Day 2016 floods, the Holy Week 2016 floods in Newton and Orange counties in East Texas, plus these little smatterings of tornadoes and things like that we get in that 58 county region. Those fall on me to help the churches respond to their local disasters.
So I'm looking at your shirt that you're wearing today, and it says the Texas Conference of the United Methodist Church Disaster Ministries, but it's got this nice little boot print, and inside the boot print there's the Methodist cross with the flame, boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, yeah. We pride ourselves on being the first in and the last out. As soon as the local officials declare a disaster zone safe for volunteers to enter, our teams are often the very first ones to come rolling in, alongside several other organizations. That's a fabulous thing about disaster response is, particularly in the faith community, There are several different denominations that are very active, lots of churches that are active. And we really know each other well, and we all kind of have specialties, I guess, in each one of these different areas of disaster response. So we're able to come in as soon as the event is over and the rescue phase is over, and start helping people muck and gut their flooded homes, patch holes in their roofs, get rid of the wet stuff, stabilize the home so no further damage occurs. But then we kind of take it a step further and we move into long-term recovery. We work with state and local VOAD, which is Voluntary Organization Active in a Disaster. It's a group of disaster responders. We work with national partners. We work with local long-term recovery groups, and we provide assistance in rebuilding people's homes after disasters. So a lot of the agencies that came in immediately following Harvey have already packed up and left, and we're still boots on the ground and still rebuilding people's homes all through Texas.
So what's the favorite part of your job?
Seeing people return to a new normal. We always tell them we're not going to get you back to the way things were before the storm. But when we can get people back into a home that is livable, that's safe, sanitary, and secure, and all of our clients are members of vulnerable populations. These are people who don't have insurance. They may be low income, elderly, have some form of disability, have maybe be a caretaker for somebody with high needs, and they can't do this stuff on their own. But we're able to come in, like I said, get the wet stuff out, get rid of the mold, get rid of the mildew, rebuild the house, and get them back into their home and to a new normal so that they can continue on with their lives. That's very rewarding to be beside them each step of the way as they go through that.
So is this something that you thought that you would do when you decided to become a reverend?
So yes and no. Disasters have followed me my whole life.
What is it with you?
I'm the disaster pastor. I'm from the Texas Panhandle originally. Some of my earliest memories are tornadoes, and I can remember as like a 4-year-old child having survivor guilt and looking at the house across the street that was damaged and my house wasn't, and wondering why was my friend's house damaged and mine wasn't. And my parents were always very active in the church and leading youth groups, and so they would take youth groups out to do mission trips, to do disaster recovery. We moved to Lake Jackson when I was 7. A couple of years later, Hurricane Alicia hit 5 miles from our house, and the same thing, watching the community come together. So when I got into the ministry, and the Methodist Church has a long history of disaster relief, that was just one of the areas of ministry that I kind of naturally gravitated to. And then the Texas Conference decided in 2014 to build a disaster relief facility here in Conroe, and I was fortunate enough to be selected to lead that all the way through the construction phase, all the way into full operation. And we actually officially opened in February of 2017. So we were just getting our feet under us when Harvey hit. But we were able to deploy over 12,500 cleaning kits to people that needed them in the Houston area. Over 500 school kits to children who lost everything in the flood, but then had to go back to school a week or two later, and we were able to provide them with school supplies. Hygiene kits, we sent out over 6,000 hygiene kits to help people who were staying in shelters, so they had soap and washcloths and combs and things like that. So it was, when I started seminary, not something I immediately thought of, but it was just something that I naturally gravitated to.
Well, I think it's awesome that the church does that because, taking care of spiritual needs is obviously what we expect churches to do, and that's a big part of what they do. But really taking care of their physical needs, particularly after a disaster, that's pretty phenomenal.
And I tell all of my volunteers that I train, this is not a construction ministry. It's not a deconstruction ministry. We're not going in on demo day on a home repair show on HGTV and taking hammers and just beating sheetrock out of the wall. It's a ministry of presence. And so we might go into a house thinking that we're going to be there tearing out sheetrock that day, and what we actually need to do is sit there and hold the homeowner's hand and listen to them tell their story. And coming from the faith perspective, that's a very easy switch for our people to make. Again, back to keep saying that, to holistic healing for people. We help with their physical needs. We help with their spiritual needs.
Okay, and any last thoughts that you want to share with your three-fer here?
No, I guess I would say I would encourage people to get involved, whether it's at the school district, whether it's in their local church, whether it's master gardening with Agrilife. The reason that I do the things that I do is to make the community a better place. And a very wise man once told me that there are 3 pillars of strong communities. It's strong schools, a strong business community, and a strong faith community. And so if every member of the community would find a way to strengthen one of those three pillars, make Montgomery County a better place.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being
My
here,
pleasure.
Scott. So you made the extension hour complete today with so many things. We could probably talk a lot more about any of those three topics that we talked about today. And we've visited before, and there's plenty of other things that are interesting about you. But thank you so much for being here today. Like I said, next week we'll have Shelley Winkler and Ina McFarlane from Conroe ISD. And we'll talk about some of the things that we're doing at Sam Houston. And then going to the fair this week. There's lots of great things going on there. You can meet lots of cool people there. But tune in next week. And every Friday, 1 to 2, the Extension Hour. We'll see you then. Bye.
Thanks for checking out this show on Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. This show is owned and produced by Lone Star Community Radio and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. For more information about the show, to be a guest, or to sponsor, just contact the studio at 936-647-3776 to leave a message, or email us at lscrstudios@gmail.com.